Hi.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Welcome to SketchyCast week 5.
Yeah.
Got it. This is the beginning of a new series of prompts, a new sort of team composite that we'll be building.
We will reveal that slowly over time.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's fine. Should we at least give the...
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be live. So, yeah, this is this week's prompt, or this bi-weekly prompt is Sticky Man.
Sticky Man.
That's right.
You know, your favorite superhero.
Yeah. He's when we first came up with this, the first thing that came into my mind was just a man with like sticky notes covered all over him.
That's funny because I just see like a guy who's just oozing green slime all the time, and he's just like pretty unhappy and terrified. He's like Flubber, but like melting, and he's like,
That was like Arnold Flubber.
I am Flubber.
Yeah, how come they didn't get Robin Williams and Arnold to play Flubber in the movie
No, actually,
Flubber?
Arnold did the motion capture for Flubber during the whole movie. None of that is.
It looks just like him.
Yeah, you know when he flies around the room and transforms and stuff. It's all Arnold. Talented man.
Yeah, really talented.
Very muscly.
I mean, that's what bodybuilding does, and also what steroids do.
Yep, complete body, physical, atomic control of all your atoms.
You shouldn't do steroids, but we're just saying if you do steroids, you might turn into Flubber.
But if you want to.
Which, take that with what you will. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Sticky Man is the prompt.
Sorry.
I think that's definitely the appropriate.
I kind of want to do this one too. I think I might do one. For myself.
Yeah, I mean,
wouldn't have to record or anything.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's a. I don't know. It's interesting to hear your take on it, because like you were picturing a pretty full scope character design in terms of like the lore of who it was. Mm-hmm.
I pictured his color, his pose, because I kind of see it almost like as a sprite in my head. If the pose would be idling and it cycles through like a little animation, it's just kind of him and his like arms oozing down and merging into his legs as his head rears back in a silent scream. And he wears a suit that kind of looks like it's a sarcastic suit because of how much pain he looks like he's in, but he's just like, and then big globs of just ooze are like everywhere.
Interesting.
It's pretty sticky.
No, yeah. He gets in another sticky situation.
90s sitcom.
Yeah, 90s sitcom, just like laugh track, and he's like nothing
so
ever
much
goes
pain.
his way.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to be sticky.
There are. I don't know why the sticky note thing came up for me.
Gee, I wonder why as I look at his wall of millions of sticky notes.
Actually, that's fair. Actually, that's probably exactly why that happened. Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, when I think sticky notes, I just think of this horrifying wall in front of me.
Our thoughts are less random than we like to think.
I haven't even looked at the top marker board.
That's all written in Roman numerals and chiseled into stone. How old is that thing?
My great grandpappy gave me the first sticky note. For those that are listening, I have two marker boards, kind of small, probably like 16 by 12, or probably like 20 by 12, I would say, or 20 by 16, something like that. Wall or like marker board, and one of them is a weekly calendar. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I just make a weekly schedule for myself, basically. And then I have a second one that's basically my future goals, I guess, and future to-dos. Like, okay, this month I have to do this at some point. 3 months from now. And then it kind of just rotates. And then I have on the top just like different projects I'm working on. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about. We talked about this a few times in terms of like needing to be inspired for your work.
Sure. Would you just say just like looking at the board
yeah,
can inspire you?
yeah,
It can bring you back to that place where you were, where you like wrote stuff down.
yeah. I mean, it is like a limitation. Like this is, I think that the using a marker board or like, and I didn't mention this, but there's every single sticky note is a different to do. Then I just place that on the board,
And they're stacked.
and they are also stacked. And
It'd be a
lots of
shame if they all got set on fire.
yeah, it would.
Letter noise.
Louder noise. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Organization and like creativity is kind of, or it's not even like organization. I would say it's kind of just like,
I think the fact that you can have something to look at, look to, and visualize, can go a long way. It's why I want to just start writing stuff down a little more. Not maybe make a board like this complex, but just having something where it can be out of my head and placed somewhere. I can pretty much like put like a mental checkpoint out into the world instead of having to hold it in my head.
yeah, that's really what it is like I don't really like to have a million things in my brain all the time. And beyond just the things I have to do for work, there's also the things I have to do for myself. I have to eat, I have to exercise, which I'm been really bad about lately. I need to cry.
Which he's been really good about lately.
Yeah, I've been really good about the cry.
It's a workout.
But I find that find that for myself, like having the more limitations I have, the easier. Like it kind of sucks because we talked about this in like the first or the second episode, I think, where we talked about like how it affects like your creativity and like your energy levels over time. And what you're able to put towards it creatively. But I feel like I don't know, just being able to be like, okay, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll do this the next day, or like, oh, I'm gonna do this at this time, and like a lot of the to-dos are only like takes a couple of seconds to do.
Yeah, I tend to have a very hard time, like if I have a lot of things to do, it's hard for me to mentally detach myself from each thing and just like think about it one at a time. I for some reason feel like I have to solve all the things all at once instead of like doing one thing and building off it. I think it's like half impatience, half like, I don't know, stress just to get it done. So I'm never just problem solving the one thing, unless like writing it out usually helps me like remove it. But yeah, like if I'm about to take on a project, I'm thinking of like every step at the same time instead of like what's the very first thing I have to do.
Yeah, and that's where writing stuff out helps, because if you're picturing that list in your head of all of the things you have to do,
True,
in your head, it's hard to look at the micro details of like the specific items on the list.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
It might just be my brain being like, you might forget to do this and forget to do this, and then suddenly all the lights are lit up at once.
Yeah, I think that for me, I mean, and that's why writing it down for me helps so much.
Yeah.
Like you can probably see like on Wednesday that I have like that big list on the bottom.
Yeah, ritual sacrifice. Just white noise, like, and welcome back, and then I'm replaced. Hey guys, it's me, Carlos.
Just like some Italian dude. Carlos is Italian, right?
Just go back and edit all the other videos.
Yeah. Yeah, but having it just gets it out of your brain.
Yeah.
Writing stuff.
Sure.
I just write stuff all the freaking time.
That kind of goes into like a workflow idea of like if I'm gonna make concepts or like make sketches, do I want to do like all the line work first, and then do all the flat colors, and then blah blah blah, or do I want to like flesh one thing out fully, see what I can learn from doing that, so that I know what my approach is for the next one. And it's like, I don't know, what are the goals that I have for creating like a cast of characters, and
Sure.
how can I ensure that I'll maintain consistency across the board the best.
Yeah.
And that's all just workflow stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think well, that's like brainstorm session kind of stuff though, yeah? Or do you try and are you altering that throughout your whole process?
I guess it comes down to thinking of it as steps. What are the steps that I want to be taking? And I am pretty flexible with it. It's never super concrete, but yeah, it's kind of like, do I want to get these ideas out first and then build on them, or do I want to build on one fully and then use what I learned from that to do the others afterwards? Or I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the best approach is, but
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of, I don't know, I guess it just goes back to the first podcast that we did, or the second one, where it's like, there's like creating for work, and then there's also creating for...
Sure, yeah, because then it's just,
for
you know if you need a certain structure or if you can be more freeform with it.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'd rather do like totally freeform because it's just so much more free.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice, like, being told what to do, though, and for example, like, if the job is to, like, recreate a design that already exists, like, it's kind of easy, kind of, like, less pressure, because, I mean, I think the hardest part of, like, designing is coming up with the ideas and making them work and all that stuff, and picking colors and whatever. Like, once all that's done, everything else is much easier, like, posing it and
Yeah.
and
I mean, I think that at that point, it's like you figure out, they talked about this in Breath of the Wild when in the development interviews and such, they said that they just threw everything against the wall to see what sticks, even if it's a bad idea.
That's why we have a concept art of Link on a motorcycle with like a green jacket.
And it made it in the game.
Technically, yeah. But it was very like futuristic. It's funny. I remember looking at that concept art and being like, I could have done some of these. But it seemed like, man, those meetings must have been so fun, and like, I don't know, just that whole process.
Yeah.
I really got to buy more art books.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah. It's just interesting to think of it as like, I don't know. When I'm brainstorming something, I usually like to write down all of my bad ideas too, just like, because you never know if like, just because it's a bad idea doesn't mean that the whole idea is bad. There might just be a specific reason why it's bad, but one tiny tweak you can make to it can make it a good idea.
Very true.
Oh, we're gonna take this motorcycle idea and maybe we'll turn it into the Guardians.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And you don't know like how one thing will inspire another, and just the act of getting it out of your head and seeing it or hearing it out loud kind of changes your perspective of it.
Totally.
So it's it's a good trick that I always forget is good, and then I'm like, wow, look how good writing is. I gotta tell everyone. Oh, they all already know. But
yeah, that's accurate. I mean, the brainstorming process is really just I mean, to me, it's the best part.
yeah, that's the but sometimes I don't know, I think for me I get crushed by the burden of choice. Like, sometimes having too many options can really cripple me, and it's very hard for me to hone in on like what's the best possible choice, because one, I get obsessed with like having to find the best possible option for something, and in order to do that I have to know what all the variables are in the given context, and that's just not like a realistic understanding.
I think what I like to do for stuff like that is I just always make sure to always be choosing a direction.
Right.
Like, there has to be some sort of like point where you choose a structure or like a design direction or a theme, however you want to apply that to whatever medium. Usually there's some sort of like limitation or idea that kind of centralizes whatever you're making.
Like an end goal of like what the project or piece or whatever is trying to accomplish, at least.
Yeah.
So that does help narrow stuff down.
Yeah. my general mindset on all this kind of stuff in terms of like if you're trying to make a quality piece of anything, you're just like if you put a lot of time towards it and like you make sure that it's like I don't know, not everything's gonna be perfect. That's the other thing too. It's like once you choose that direction, and then once you are creating that thing and once you flesh it out a lot, you're going to come into a point where it's going to be a complete thing and you're going to love it or hate it, or it's going to be somewhere in the middle. And then you can like tweak little pieces of it throughout, like after the fact, or like you're going to be tweaking it during it. But sometimes just like the core idea just isn't that strong, but I think that you have to have experience with, or it's important to see things through to the end so that you understand
like
what like that core strength is at the beginning, and like seeing that through to the end to be like, oh, this will be good, this won't be good.
You know, like what the journey is of like how an idea can evolve. So once you like walk it through those steps, you know what those steps will look like for other ideas in the future, or how you go about chewing on something and letting it grow, or knowing, you know, when to give it space, how to simplify, what to cut out, all these like little decisions you make along the way. It really is just an experience thing, like anything in art. That's always the hey, you just gotta spend some time with it. And I wish I could so there's this girl, she has like I think she's a tetrachromate or something. She has 4 cones in her eye that let her see spectrums of color that no one else can see, and so I'm really jealous of that.
I mean, at the same time though, it's like, can she use that to her advantage in her art? No. Okay.
But she can see them.
Yeah, that's true.
She wouldn't be able to use it and show other people, but
right.
Anyway, but yeah, just as far as like colors and color control and all that stuff, like I always just hear like, yeah, you just gotta spend time with it and fiddle around with it, and I'm like, I'm fiddling real hard. It's not really, but it's a slow burn, I think. And it's important to give yourself like context, like, oh, it feels like you've been doing something forever, but if it's only been a couple of years, you have lifetimes to spend time with all this stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to be 50 and look back and be like, I remember that idiot.
Yeah.
He didn't know colors. I still don't know colors.
Now I can see a whole new spectrum of colors.
Yeah, I got like surgery.
It's just like, yes, give me your eyes.
Yeah, like the mantis shrimp can see like an insane amount of, I think, I want to say like 16 times the number of colors that we can see.
Well, that's not fair.
Or something like that. Yeah, they have the most advanced eyes in the world.
It's so weird to conceptualize.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't even like.
Colors are. There's this like.
Man, now I'm looking around my room and I'm like, oh man, my life sucks. Why do I have to be human? Why can't I be a mantis shrimp?
Mantis shrimp is always like.
Yeah. Maybe if we take any more, it's just like.
Yeah. Maybe they're colors we don't need to see. We weren't meant to see.
Yeah. Now I'm like, now that we're talking about color, I'm like, God,
So there's this like.
This room is bland.
There's this like this study, or I don't know, this experiment where if they give you 5 like versions of blue and remove the middle one, and I think all of them are kind of, they're dropping in value, so they get a little bit darker, and they remove the middle one, can you visualize what that color would be? And like a lot of people will say like, you get a sense of what the color should be, but you can't actually see it in your head. It's a weird like, I don't know. Have you ever been able to like visualize a color, or is it more of just an understanding of what that color is?
Yeah, I think it's more of an understanding. I'm horrible at visualizing things.
Okay.
I'm probably one of the worst people I know at visualizing stuff. People will tell me to like, oh, see a Yeti in your head, and it's like, it's the faintest thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is like a muscle Like you can build, and it also comes like that's what building a visual library is about. Like
Yeah.
if I say like draw a lion, a lot of people will be like, oh, I see that lion in my head, and then I'll sit down and be like, where's the lion? And it's more that they have a vague idea of the perception of seeing a lion, but when you study like a lion, drawing it, its anatomy and all that stuff, you solidify like the concrete visualizations of those parts.
Yeah.
So then you can go and draw a line because you've like honestly just like downloaded that information into your
Yeah.
brain. But
That's interesting.
beyond that, it's like our visualizations of things are often just very abstract representations that's all our brains really need to hold on to
Yeah.
the idea of something.
No, that's true. And I think that for me, God, this is such a weird topic to talk about because so I'm really bad at visualizing stuff, but it's either 0 or 100. Like if I'm visualizing something, I'm not paying attention to anything around me.
Okay.
Like, but I'm like hard, like immersed in my thought,
Sure.
which happens a lot. But other times it's like I just can't. I just like someone's like do this, and I'm like I can't. What is I don't an octopus? What does that look like?
Right. Okay.
But and I guess in terms of like I guess in terms of the visualization of like I don't know. I think that some people can view that stuff a little bit more specifically.
Yeah, I think some people have
It's definitely everyone's a
have a
little bit
more
stronger.
powerful. Yeah, it's like anything else about humans. Like it's not even across the board. Some people are just better at it.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. Sometimes I'll get really vivid like visuals of like an image or something, and that's my favorite time to draw because I'm like I already drew it in my head, and then I just sit down and I have to do it. It's always tough when like it's a very half-formed image, but that's what like gathering reference is for, really. It's less to like copy the reference, but more to like you just kind of zap a little visual library into your head for that specific idea.
Sure.
So like if I'm drawing an angel person, I'll like gather a bunch of I'll honestly just look at a bunch of birds or something and look at the shapes of their wings and look at robes and look at drawings of angels and see how all that meshes together into a pot in my head, and then some things will float to the top and be like, ooh, I remember that striking shape of that falcon's wing. I'll use that as just a base to do this angel's wing. And
Nice.
yeah.
No, that makes sense though, and then you can also just like even be a little bit broader in your thought process and just say like, oh, wow, let's look up wings, or let's look up something. I mean, there might be something similar to wings thematically that you can kind of like like airplane wings, or you know.
No, and that's really what it is like the tricky part of gathering reference and stuff, and like but not being a slave to it. So like I used to, if I had a reference, I'd like copy it 1-1. Just like that's all I know. That's like I can't build off of what it's giving me. But being able to like have it inspire you and be like, okay, this is why that works. This is why this wing is striking, and like the angles of like the bone in the wing or whatever. I like that. I can probably twist it and bend it and use it to create this.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of tweaking and interpretation of the world, basically.
Yeah, and then there's like, I mean, just like kind of combining different elements together. Like, okay, add airplane wings to an angel, but then like, I don't know.
The science isn't there yet.
Oh,
We can't. It's not right.
Please.
We're defying God.
I was gonna go into the topic of style, just because like
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
when you visualize like that airplane angel, it's like okay, cool. I can see it, but like is it Paper Beats Scissors? Is that who it is on Instagram that I follow, or Rock Beats?
Paper Beats, I think so.
Or something like that. The one that has like all the like
The very
really simplistic, like cute.
illustrative style, very like graphic.
Right. Like you can like that's just exaggerated in its own way, and it's like, oh, I can think of it that way, or I can think of it in the way that pork belly ramen does, or I could literally think of like an airplane sized angel
Mm-hmm. That's that.
flying across the sky carrying people.
That's what style is. I think it's just your interpretation of an idea, and the world, and like you interpret it based on things that you like. Maybe you like harder edges, maybe you like rounder edges. You like certain proportions, and all that stuff kind of comes together. But it is tough because like I do like to jump around styles and be inspired by a lot of people, but that sort of like chameleonness can also make me lose like what are my decisions to these answers? What am
Sure.
I? How do I problem solve? So I think it is important to like it's important to be inspired and look at other people's art and digest, but also to let yourself spark your own ideas and ask yourself what you would do, how you would create a certain thing a certain way.
Sure. Sure. And
But on that note, no one's ever wholly original either. Everything that you do is because you were inspired or took information from one point or another.
yeah.
It's the way you put it all together and execute it that is what originality is.
Yeah, and the whole like yeah, that kind of goes back to another conversation we had about like I guess like what your inspirations are and like what you're pulling from to like I think that or I guess we talked about like the outside of the box conversation some time ago. I just added to the podcast, so that's like a little bit more fresh in my brain, probably. But
I was like,
oh yeah, sure.
What did you say, you weirdo?
But basically, we talked about how like okay, if something's like so for something to be innovative, it has to just be like a tiny bit outside of the box. If you go too far outside the box, then it's
Right.
like
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
it's not relevant. And I kind of look at inspiration for style
Sure. Yeah.
in that same way, where it's like you're in the center of the box,
Right.
but then like you just like kind of like slingshot to somewhere a little bit further away. Sometimes it's like way outside the box, or maybe you're I don't know, I guess, or maybe you're pulling stuff in from outside of like your style circle, and like if you go too far out, then it's like, oh, I'm not holding my own true style anymore.
And the
from
problem
inspiration.
with being too far like out of the box is that what you bring to the table is generally a bunch of ideas that people can't relate to. When you pull from the world and things that are a little bit more common and execute them in your own way, people can relate to them. It reminds them of things that they already like and that they already know, and so it breeds familiarity, and that's what makes them drawn to your idea. And then your spin on it is what makes them stick around and be like, cool, this is refreshing, this is whatever. If you try to like reinvent the wheel, people are going to be like, what's that? And then you have like a square wheel and people don't know what it does, and they're like, that seems wrong. I'm not ready for it.
Yeah.
And it could work, but that's I think more an element of luck than like your idea being that great.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess that like that kind of happens on a subconscious level for style.
Yeah.
Like it's, oh, I made this, or I mean, style. It's just like almost like indescribable, like how to like actually perceive style or how to like talk about it. And everybody's can be like, I think that people can look at an art piece objectively a lot of times and say, like, that there's just something wrong in general with this.
Sure.
And I guess that's where we get back to experience as being an artist and the time you have to put into it.
Yeah, and it's like, I look at style as like developing your own personality. There are things that you change about yourself consciously, things that you want to accomplish
And then things that
as your
naturally
person.
influence you as well.
Right, and then there's a whole subconscious element, stuff that just comes together under the surface that you're not super in control of. And those things intertwine and become your personality, and they become your style, and they become your voice. And it's you're on a ship and you're steering it, but it's real windy. So you're not in full control, but you're headed towards where you're going. Anyway,
Yeah.
it is a very abstract sort of long journey to take. It's definitely like you see it all the time. Like, how do I have a style? Like, it's just a common question.
Yeah.
And to do that, you got to climb the mountain of Fjordenskal and defeat the troll that lives up there. Eat his heart, and you'll get your style, kid.
I'm the troll. I'm gonna be waiting up there with a big club, and I'm gonna be like
Huge club.
huge club.
You gotta be ready.
You gotta be
play.
ready. Like it's bigger than me. And
Good luck.
yeah.
You want that style?
I drag it around. I can't even lift it above my head. Hey, you want that style? You gotta get through me.
You gotta earn it.
You gotta earn it.
But it's funny. I definitely feel more comfortable in my style and tastes. But some days I'm just like, I want to do the exact opposite of this just to do it. Defeat the troll.
Defeat the troll. But thanks for watching, everybody. Take part in Sticky Man if you want.
Show us all the ways he can be sticky.
Yeah.
Pop by the Discord, drop your whips off.
Yeah.
And
description below.
And just get weird with it.
Yeah, it's this is probably my favorite like series of prompts that we've had.
It should be fun.
The third and the fourth one, or the third one in particular, I'm just like, it's just too dumb. I don't know. I'm interested to see how people
react to it.
But also like if people even like want to do it.
Yeah, no, we're definitely trying to like. We've done some grounded ones. We've done some silly ones. We're gonna try some really dumb, wacky ones. Like, why not? We'll see.
I think that the third one is probably the dumbest one we've done. I think. I'm trying to think if there is a dumber one.
No, that's probably the dumbest one we've done. So we'll see.
Yeah, but just thanks for watching, guys, and come hang out on the Discord, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Oh, they can't hear me wave.
You know, they can't. We gotta redo the episode.
The whole thing. God. Thanks, guys.